Okay, let's look at this problem from chapter 1.1, and we're going to focus on just the first problem. We need to make a piecewise function out of this, and we have to note what's happening with the domain here. So we start at -1 and go to 0. Whoops. We start at -1 and we go to 0. And then we go from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 4. But note, this function does not exist at 0. There's a hole in 0. So we're going to make a piecewise function focusing out of this part. So we're going to go from the point -1, 2. So let's come over here and draw this on our graph. Let me pull up my graphing here. So there's my axes. This will be my x and my y. And we started at -1, 2 and went to 0. So let's make that happen. We go from -1, -1, 2, which the point is actually there, down to 0. And that's open. Then we go from 0 to 1, 2. Whoops. Zero to 1, 2. So that's 1, 2. That's -1, 2. And then from 1, 2, we go to an open point at 4. 4. And so this is the graph we're trying to repeat. So I'll notice that we have from -1 less than or equal to x less than 0 covers this first part. So that'll be the first function, first part of the function we want to do in our piecewise function. Then our second part is from 0 to 1. Notice my inequalities here. Because we don't exist at 0, there's no equal sign towards any of these. So that'll be my second function. And then my third function will be from 1 to 4. But again, this is an open circle, so there's nothing in there. So we'll have these three functions. Now, all of these are linear. I think this is the easiest piece to look at because it's a constant function. The output value is always 2. So we'll put a 2 in here. This is a line. So we'll use our point slope version of the line. So for the first function, we'll go m is delta y over delta x, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we'll have 2 minus 0 over -1 minus 0, or a slope of -2. Now we use the point slope formula. And I'm going to use the point 0, 0 because it'll be easier to do. So y minus 0 equals -2 times x minus 0, or y equals -2x. And anything about this other graph is it's parallel. And so we're going to have a similar output here. So we've got our first line and our first part of the function. We have our second line, our second part of the function. So let's look at this third line. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the slope. I'm going to change colors for this one. I think I'll get to an orange. So we'll make this orange. And the slope for this is going to be, I'll come down for some empty space. We're going from the point 1, 2 to 0, 4. So m is delta y over delta x equals 2 minus 0 over 1 minus 4, which equals 2 over negative 3. 1, 2, and 0, 4. Let me make sure I'm just double checking my points. So let me double check my points here. 1, 2, and 0, 4. So 0.1 or 0.2 is 1 comma 2. 0.1 is 0 comma 4. So, whoops, 4 comma 0. Set it backwards. And so 2 minus 0, 1 minus 4, negative 2/3. Now I'll come back and I'll do my point slope formula. And again, I'm going to use the 0, 4 because that'll give me a 0 for this y component. And that gives me y equals negative 2/3 x minus 8/3, or plus 8/3, because a minus times a minus is positive. And so that gives me my third piece of my piecewise function. Negative 2/3 x plus 8/3. And we have a piecewise function that takes care of this graph.